All right, so this is Kenny Santos out of Toronto, Canada for KennySantos.com. This is another special audio for an accountability group that I am coaching. They had some questions that they wanted answered during the last team call, and there were so many questions and so little time that I promised them I'd make them an audio, but I am making the audio available to my other subscribers on the YouTube channel. I will not be doing a blog post on these ones because man, it just takes time to do a blog post, to write the article and everything, but there will be a video. And as I said in the other videos that I do of this nature, I like the chance of just recording an audio because I don't feel like I'm in a hurry. I get to lay out the details the way I want to, because when I'm doing a video, I feel like the video's got to be between 3 and 5 minutes long, and I feel like I'm rushing the information. And same thing if I'm doing a phone call. You know, if I only have 15 minutes to do a phone call or 15 minutes of time to train, then I feel like I'm hurrying. And so this allows me to talk as long as I need to talk in order to get the information across as best I can. And so this particular audio is real simple. It's actually about what to say. It's how to prospect. What's a simple way to prospect both cold market and warm market. And if you can get this, if you can get the prospecting down, the prospecting part down, then, and you actually do it, then you're going to create some success in this profession. This profession of network marketing, direct sales, is all about filling your pipeline up. And you can't fill your pipeline up if you're wasting your time with one prospect and chasing them down. However, if you're spending less time with more people and you're talking to lots of people every single day, even if you talk to someone and they say no, all right, you talk to 10 people in a day and they each say no, you're doing more for your business than chasing that one lead that said no yesterday or a month ago and trying to convince them to change. All right, it is so much easier to find someone that is excited and new versus trying to convince someone that isn't excited to be excited. And so when we're contacting, this particular audio is going to be all about the warm leads. I'm going to be doing another video all about cold leads, but there's a lot of principles that apply to both. Now, as far as warm leads, these are people that you know. You have a relationship with them. They think something of you. They may think highly of you. They may think lowly of you. All right, but it's someone that you know. And so some of the principles that are going to cross over between contacting warm leads and cold leads are this. There's 3 rules that I like to keep in mind when you're prospecting. There's 3 simple rules. The first rule is simple. Say less to more people. I said it before. It's easier to find someone who is interested than it is to convince someone who isn't interested. You want to be the messenger. You don't want to be the message. And you want to tell them just enough to get them curious to find more information. So this isn't about hyping them up and saying, you know what, I got this great opportunity with the best comp plan and it's ground floor. No. It's nothing like that. This is all about just seeing if they're open. That's all it is. Be quick to disqualify. This is warm market and cold market. You don't want to be sitting there trying to convince them. If they don't qualify, if they're not open, if they're not hardworking, if they're not hungry for a change, then you probably don't want them on your team. You don't want to convince them to be on your team. They're not the perfect prospect for you. So again, what are you looking for? Someone who's excited about your opportunity, someone that's hungry for a change, someone that's ready to work. Look for these ideas. And if they hear what you have, or if you ask them if they want something, they want, make some more money, and they're like, nah, I'm making enough money. Don't try and convince them. Don't say, oh, well, but with more money, you can go on that fishing trip like you always wanted to. Don't try and convince them. They're not hungry enough, all right? Look for people that are hungry, that want to change, and then spend the time with those people. People that aren't hungry, they don't want to change, they're not open-minded, they're not hardworking. All those people, you may be able to convince them to join your team, but it's not going to go anywhere, all right? So don't worry about them. So the 3 rules so far: 1, say less to more people; 2, be quick to disqualify; and 3, be in a hurry. If you're in a hurry, then you don't have time to answer their questions. They can get their questions answered by advancing to the next step, and the next step is looking at the information. If they're open, then they're going to be willing to look at the information. If they're not open, then you don't want them on your team anyway. So don't worry about it. All right? And so, say less to more people, be quick to disqualify, be in a hurry. Now, those are the 3 rules of prospecting. And then I want you to really understand the 2 intentions when you're prospecting. You see, when I first started this profession, I thought my intention was supposed to be to get them to a meeting, or my intention was supposed to be to sell them into the program. So I made sure that they knew that my product was made by, a Nobel Prize winning scientist that, that went to a prestigious university, that it has a clinically peer reviewed, articles and all that stuff. None of that stuff matters. All right. None of that really matters in your initial contact with the prospect. That's going to matter when they look at the information, but not at the beginning. All right. You don't want to convince them to look at the information. You want to see if they're open to looking at the information. So it's not to sell them. So the first intention is determine if they qualify, meaning, are they open? Are they excited? Are they hungry for change? If they're not open, excited, and hungry for change, politely dismiss them. Talk to someone else, and that's one of the people that you need to talk to today. All right. And that's why talking to a bunch of people really isn't that hard. Many of us think that in order for us to talk to someone, we have to have all of our notes ready to figure out what to say if they ask a certain question. And you know what? We think we're going to be on the phone for 30 minutes. If we're on the phone with a prospect for 30 minutes, we're talking too much. Typical phone call should be like 2, 3, maximum 5 minutes long, and then go through exactly how the phone call goes. And it really doesn't matter if it's warm market or cold market. All right, so you want to be in a hurry. You want them. You want to be in a hurry so that you don't have time to ask them questions. You have to call a certain amount of people each day, whether it's 10 people, 20 people. You want to talk to a certain amount of people each day. You will not have time to talk to them if you're spending 10 or 15 minutes with each one of them. All right, so determine if they qualify. Are they open, excited, and hungry for change? And if they do qualify, see if they'll agree to talking with you again after they look at the information. All right, and so whether they look at the information, I know through this particular group they like to do live presentations, usually Thursday nights or Wednesday nights. See if they're open to going to the presentation and then talking to you afterwards. And I'm going to lay out exactly how that works in the current audio that I'm doing right now. And this applies, doesn't matter what business you're in. This particular group is in real estate investment education, but it really doesn't matter what group you're in. You could just alter the script so that it really applies for what you're doing. And so now that you know the 3 rules of prospecting, you know the 2 intentions of prospecting, what can you say to warm market that will determine if they're open and also allow you to be in a hurry so that you don't talk too much? And so 2 steps in prospecting is this. There's the first step, which I'm going to skip for now and go right to the second step. All right. And you'll understand why. And the second step is just ask them a qualifying question. All right. Let's say you're visiting with some warm market. They know you. You call them up. Now, sometime during the conversation, you're just going to kind of ask them, and by the way, it's probably going to be near the end of the conversation, you're going to ask them a qualifying question. Remember, what's our intention? Not to sell them, to see if they're open. All right? An example of a qualifying question. Are you at all open to a side project if it didn't interfere with what you're currently doing? That's an example. Are you at all open to making any money outside of their profession? So if they're a mechanic, are you at all open to making any money outside of being a mechanic? Are you at all open to being making any money outside of being a, oh my goodness, an electrician, being a plumber, whatever it is, whatever they do? Are you all open to making any money outside of working at Walmart or whatever it is? All right. Here's another qualifying question. I found a way to make some extra cash. I don't know if it's for everyone, but I'm pretty excited about it. Are you open to seeing if it's a good fit? Again, I found a way to make some extra cash. I don't know if it's for everyone, but I'm pretty excited about it. Are you open to seeing if it's a good fit? Here's another qualifying question. Is the timing right in your life that you would be open to looking at a side project if you could make some extra income? And when you ask that question, your goal again, determine if they're open. And if they're open, they're going to say yes. And if they're not open, they're going to say no. And this audio would be awesome if that's how most people responded. But most people will respond probably 90% of the time, not with a yes or a no. That would be too easy for us. They're going to respond with, well, what is it? Are you all open to making some extra money if it didn't interfere with what you're currently doing. What is it? And then you get tongue-tied and you say, well, it's this great project and it's ground floor opportunity. And then the amateur network marketer, they're going to lay on the hype. And you got to really remember this, is that when it comes to hype, when you start talking hype, convincing people, their walls go up, they start crossing their arms. Even if they're on their phone, they start crossing their arm, they're tuning you out, they become skeptical. However, if you take it away from them, you say something like, well, I don't know if it's a good fit for you, I don't know, it's not for everyone. Instead of becoming skeptical, they become hopeful that it's for them. And so that's why I love the takeaway, right? So don't use hype. If they say, what is it? That's where that's why I'm going to talk about the first step. And the first step is this. It's really simple. It's a break in communication. And a break in a communication is an excuse to get off the phone. And you want to establish this break in communication before you ask them the qualifying question, because you want to be ready just in case 90% of the time they're going to say, what is it? Like, how could you be a mind reader and know they're going to say, what is it? How could you tell the future and know they're going to say, what is it? Why? How do you know? Because I'm telling you in the audio that 90% of the time they're going to say, what is it? So prepare for it before you even ask the question. And it's an excuse to get off the phone. And the excuse to get off the phone could be any appointment. It could be an appointment to watch TV. It could be an appointment to call your mother. It could be an appointment to call the next prospect. Whatever it is, it could be an appointment they make to yourself. They don't even have to know the appointment. They'll probably won't even ask. And so before you ask the qualifying question, maybe you visited with your prospect for a little bit. You wish them happy holidays. Oh, yeah, well, anyway, got to get going. That is the break in communication. Anyway, got to get going. Then you ask the qualifying question. Oh, man, look at the time. I've got to get going real quick. Are you at all open to a side project if it didn't interfere with what you're currently doing? Break in communication. Oh, wow. Or this is what I like to do. If I just want to call a lot of people, I don't even bother visiting with people. I just call them up and say, hey, Bob, it's Kenny. Listen, I only have a couple moments. That's my break in communication. Are you at all open to making any money outside of being a mechanic? That's my qualifying question. So, breaking communication, qualifying question. Oh, wow, I've got to get going. I found a way to make some extra cash. I know it's not for everyone, but I'm pretty excited about it. Are you at all open to seeing if it's a good fit? That way, if they say, what is it? You've already established that you have got to get going. You've already established that you don't have time to answer their questions. And so, when you're answering that, it's really simple. Is that at that point in the conversation, say, oh, you know what, I wish I could explain this to you over the phone, but I really got to get going. I'll tell you what. And then when you say, I'll tell you what, basically what happens is this, is that you give them, how do I say it? You give them an option on how they can get that information. I know with this particular group, they like to meet at hotel meetings for live presentations. They say, what is it? Man, wish I could really tell you over the phone. I'll tell you what, a group of us, we're going to be talking about it Wednesday night, 7 p.m. at this area. Are you free? Right? Remember, we're doing the first intention is this, find out if they're open. Second intention, find out if they're open to talking to you after they looked at some information. So if you're going to be at that meeting at Wednesday at 7 p.m., are you free? If they say yes, say cool. Let's talk there. It'll answer a lot of your questions. In the meantime, I'll send you the information, but I got to get going, and then we can answer some of your questions after. All right? Notice you didn't say the name of the company. You didn't even say what it's about. All right? But you got someone that's interested in having a look at what you have. And so a typical conversation, maybe you call Bob and you visit with Bob and say, you know what, Happy New Year, Bob, or Happy Holiday, Bob, or it's been a while, Bob, or whatever the case may be. You visit for him a little bit, and then you kind of do a break in communication. Here's another break in communication. You could say, can you hold on a second? Mute the phone for like 10 seconds. Can you hold on for a second? They'll say, yeah, sure. Mute the phone for 10 seconds. Come back and say, hey, Bob, you still there? Listen, I gotta get going. That's my break in communication. All right? Then you just follow it up. Are you at all open? By the way, before I get going, are you at all open to creating some extra income if it didn't interfere with what you're currently doing? No? Cool. Nice visiting with you. Goodbye. I gotta get going. Yes, cool. Give them the information. Set up the appointment. Gotta get going. They say, what is it? Oh, man. I wish I could explain it to you over the phone, but I do have to get going. Tell you what, we're going to be discussing some of this information on Wednesday, 7 p.m. at X, Y, and Z. Can you make yourself free? Or do you want to be included in the conversation? It's a yes or a no. Oh, just tell me quick what it is. Man, I wish I could tell you what it is. I got to get going, and then hang up. All right, man, don't mean to be rude, but I got to get going. Hang up. If they're not open to looking at the information, if they're not open enough to respecting your time that you just told them that you got to get going, then they're not a good fit for you. Maybe you talk to them later, but you don't want to get in the trap of saying too much. I have seen people set up an invitation and they made the mistake of not getting off the phone. They kept answering their prospect's questions, and then the prospect has gotten enough information that they don't want to come yet. All right, you want to get them curious enough that they'll come and look at the information. You don't want to get them any more curious. All right, I watched some movies over the weekend, or over the holiday here. Watched The Greatest Showman, and I watched what's that one? Star Wars, right? If I want to tell my friends all about they got to see Star Wars, I would not tell them the ending. So don't tell them the ending of your message by talking more. You want them to see the movie. You want them to go to the presentation, and you want them to see all the information so they can make a really, really good decision. And so, really simple, maybe it's not so simple. No, it is simple, but it's not necessarily so easy. 1, do a break in communication. 2, ask them a qualifying question. 3, if they say what is it, deflect them. Have them look at the information. And 4, get off the phone. If you can get those things done, and know this, it's more important that you do the exercise than it is that you do the exercise good. All right, that you do it well, because your results in this, whether your prospect says yes or no or maybe, has very little to do with you and more to do with the timing in their life. All right, and if you have to convince them to come, man, maybe that's some negative energy you just don't want at the meeting. I would rather have 5 excited people at the meeting than I would have 7 or 10 or 20 skeptical people at the meetings. Man, if I have a room full of skeptical people, it's hard to turn them around. But if I have a room full of 5 excited people that can't wait to hear the information, that's where we're moving forward, and we're moving forward in spades. And that's how you talk to your warm market. All right, so I'll lay it down one more time. 1, breaking communication. 2, qualifying question. 3, either answer what is it if they ask what is it, and 4, get off the phone. Now, if you're inviting them just to look at some information, hey, what is it? You know what? It's hard for me to explain over the phone. I'm going to send you an audio or a video or something. I'm going to send you a link over the email. It'll take you about 15 minutes to look it over. How fast could you look at it? Or how soon could you look at it? Oh, I could look at it tonight. Cool. I'll call you tonight at 9:30. If you see it, if I call you at 9:30, you've listened to it for sure? Yes, cool. You've set up that appointment. Remember, what's your intention? Your intention is see if they're open. They are. 2, see if they're open to talking to you after they've looked at more information. You've done that. Get off the phone. You're done. Simple. And that's the way you talk to warm market. And as you can tell, that conversation, if you don't visit with them first, that you can get that done in like 3 minutes. And here's something. You're supposed to be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry while you're visiting, but feel free to be in a hurry the moments you've established that break in communication. Oh, I've got to get going. All right, you can slow down a little bit if you need to get them some of the details to look at the information. But once you say that break in communication, you're in a hurry, you need to get off the phone. They think you're in a hurry, so get off the phone as fast as you can after it's appropriate. So I trust you guys got some awesome value out of this. And what I invite you to do is use the information. If you realize that you only need to spend 2-3 minutes with each prospect, you can realize how simple it is to really talk to 5, 10, 50 people a day. Well, 50 is a lot, but I think you guys get where I'm talking about. You guys realize you can get a lot more calls in a day because it's not that hard, and you can do it while you're in the waiting room at the doctor's office. You can do it while you're at the grocery store. Man, there's nothing better than a break in communication when you're in line. Oh man, I'm in line at the grocery store. I'm about to get checked out real quick. Are you all open to making some extra income? Yada yada yada. Right? Man, there's a cashier ready to take your money. Man, they gotta talk fast. Great break in communication. So, I trust you got some great value out of this. More importantly, I hope you use this information You use this information, you prospect more, you're going to get better results in your business. All right, take care and create a great day.